Hello, welcome to Integrate. I'm Rhiannon. Today we're going to be doing a downward dog hack video geared specifically towards our hips. So let's do some learning. I'm going to use my little friend here as to help us so we can actually see what's going on. So the movements I'm going to be doing on this, of course, are very exaggerated. The movements in the pelvis are like very fractional, but it's good just to have a demonstration. So downward facing dog, what is happening is our legs are doing these internal and external rotations. So they're here, so we need to be able to internally and externally and then internally rotate as we're coming up into that downward facing dog. So what hinders this is that most people pretty much always start out, even if you have a posterior pelvic tilt, you usually started first in an anterior pelvic tilt. So what this does with the leg bone is that it brings it out here. So then it really limits the amount of internal and external rotation that can happen because your hip bone's in the way. And what else is also going on here is that since most people tend to put their weight in their right leg, that affects the tailbone. So as we go and shift into our right leg, our tailbone turns slightly in towards the right side, and then that makes the coccyx and the tailbone go closer and closes off this area here on the left side. And then then that causes other different types of mobility limitations on each side because of that. So this is what our hacks are going to do today. So we're going to be starting with a stretch and mobilization drill that's going to help get that coccyx away and open up that outlet in the hips, so that way we're not starting twisted. So we're trying to get it more neutral. And so that's what our breath and posture hack is going to do today. And then our strength hack is going to help us with that anterior pelvic tilt. So when we have that anterior pelvic tilt, when we go and we lay down on our backs, we kind of end up, of course, again, this is exaggerated, but kind of up like this. And we want to be able to get like the full part of the spine here, up into these bony parts, down onto the mat. So when you relax down, you're supported like that and stuff. And then your spine kind of has a curve here like this. It kind of does that arch to here where your lower ribs connect here. So that is what our strength hack is going to do, is going to be working on helping us get that part of between our hips down onto the mat and engaging all the muscles needed there so that you can hold a more neutral pelvis and kind of come out of that anterior pelvic tilt. And that's going to be very helpful for getting that internal and external rotation in the legs. And then our mobility hack, we're going to be actually working on internally and rotating the legs. So being in that plank and then pressing up, going through that range of motion back and forth, if that made sense. But yeah, so that is the education part of our hack. Put that over there. Now let's get to the work. So posture and breath hack. We're going to be doing a posterior capsule stretch. So we were going to start by stretching our right side because it's the left side that needs it more. So we're going to end on that side. So to do that, we're going to we're going to come into all fours. We're going to extend our left leg out And then we're going to bring that right leg, turn it in, and bring it up and in, almost like you're going to go into a pigeon, but not really, because we're going to think about going down. So you're not going to really be relaxing into it. So you want to get it comfortable where you can keep that lift. And then from here, you're going to walk your left hand out a little bit, and then you're going to press your hips back and then out to the right. And then play with it, and then you should feel like a sensation like right along here. And then it's like a bony stretch sensation, because like I showed you, we're trying to literally move bone away from each other. And then once you have it, we're going to add our breaths. So we're going to slightly rock forward. Inhale, separating the rib cage, the shoulder blades, rounding, pulling that spine up. Exhale, send your ribs towards your belt line as you rock back it more into that stretch. Inhale, lifting up. You're still keeping that hip shift out where you're holding the stretch the whole time. Exhale, send your rib cage down. We'll do that for about 5 breaths here. You can do it as many up to like 8 or 10. And then we'll release it. And then we'll go to the other side. Stretching that right leg out, bringing that right leg in like you're trying to go to pigeon, but you're able to press into that leg, lifting up. Walking that right hand out to kind of help you hinge, and then press into that right hand to shift you back. Trying to find that bony stretch sensation right in the side of the booty. And then once you get it, see if you can hold that hip shift, and then inhale, rounding between your shoulder blades. Exhale, pulling your rib cage down. Again, we'll do that for about 5 breaths. And then we'll release it. And then we will move on to our strength hack. So you're going to need a wall. And we're going to come down, and then we're going to put our feet on the wall about 90 degrees. So we're trying to make a 90-degree angle, knees stacked over hips. And then you want to check your knees are stacked over your hips. You can always place something in front of your legs, or you can take your legs and just kind of press your knees in to try to get your inner thighs to engage. From there, and then you're going to find your heel, ball of your big toe, ball of your little toe. And then you want to find a middle ground where your arches aren't fully lifting or fully collapsing. They're kind of in the middle. And then you're going to pull your heels down like a 2-3 effort to start with here. 2-3 effort. And then you're going to feel like as if you're arching here as you pull down. Hopefully you're feeling your pelvis kind of go where you're getting that space between your hip bones down on the mat. And then we're going to reach our hands up, separating our shoulder blades, but still pulling those collarbones apart. And then this is our starting position. So from here, we're going to be going into the strength part. You're going to shift your weight into one side. I'm shifting it into my left side. And then you're going to inhale up. And then as you exhale, you're going to start sending your right knee towards your chest. As you do that, you're going to slightly tuck. So you only want to be doing more like a 3 effort. This isn't like an all-out strength hack. Kind of flattening your legs down more as far as you're getting your knee towards your chest as much as possible. And then from here, You can take your elbow, try to send it towards your knee, and breathe. Now, if this feels good and it's still going too easy, then you just keep going. There, you're going to continue trying to tuck, and then your hips are going to slowly start lifting. And then from this point, you're thinking about getting extension in your hip. So you're drawing your knee up as your hips go forward, trying to reduce the angle right here in your hip. Using exhale, ribs to belt line. Inhale, lifting a little bit, pressing down. Exhale, ribs to belt line. Going up as far as you can. And then releasing down. And then we'll do the other side. So you need to reset up, make sure you're right in that neutral position. So knees over hips. That middle ground of your arches. Ball of your heel, ball of your big toe, little toe, and heel down. Here, pulling your heels down, tucking your tailbone, feeling that spot between your hips. Hopefully you're feeling some engagement where your hamstring meets your glutes. Reaching, find that space between your shoulder blades. And then inhale, bringing that knee up. Exhale, ribs coming down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. Bringing that elbow towards your knee. And then if you can get pretty much closing, then continuing tucking that tailbone. Should be, even though you're only pulling down 2 or 3, you should be getting that really nice engagement where that hamstring meets your glutes. Lifting up, coming further and further up until you get to the top, trying to get as much extension in that hip as possible. And then releasing down. So that was kind of a long explanation, but you can go through and you alternate sides, coming through, doing that, lifting up. And you should be feeling most of that engagement, like I said, right here. Getting a lot of that extension here and down. And you can do about 5 to 10 on each side. I'll do one more on each side for the sake of the video. So resetting between each one. And that's our hip strength hack for this downward facing dog video. Next, we're going to do a down dog variation that's going to really work on the internal and external rotation of our legs in the hip sockets. So down dog variation. So what we're going to do is you're going to come up, not fully into a down dog, but you're going to walk your leg. You're going to have a wide down dog stance. And then you're going to be high up on your heels. And then you're going to kind of just turn your toes out, heels coming towards each other. And then we're going to be shifting. I have to walk your hands out a little bit. Shifting into plank, and as you do, you're going to rotate your legs coming forward. Your heels could even come more out to the side as you come into that plank. Shifting in, heels together. Heels pointing towards each other. Shifting out. So you can always do this on your forearms too. And then we're going to reverse it. So we'll start with our heels pointing in a bit more, so our knees are rotating out. And then we're going to press back, turning, heels coming out a bit more to the side. Your knees should be nice and loose through the full movement on both of these. Shouldn't feel any knee pain. This is just working on those rotation of those micro movements, exaggerating them, that you need to go into your downward facing dog. And we're going to release down. Maybe walk your hands in, tucking the toes, pressing back into a full downward facing dog and seeing what you got with all that work. And bringing your knees down. There we have it. So there's our downward facing dog hack video for the hips. I hope that helped, and I hope to see you in another video.